Hi everybody, Colin Stevenson here, joined today with my hero and my sensei, John Lenhart. Hi John.
Hi.
And I use the word sensei, just going back to the old samurai conversation that we've had a couple of videos before there. And again, a great teacher, administrator teacher, so it all fits in perfect. Now, John and I wish to talk about forgiveness today. It's a very, very, very big subject in the world, and I don't believe there's enough people doing it, John.
Not even close. Not even close. So the thing is that I want to take a step back before we get to forgiveness and talk about mercy. So we've been in this series talking about our unconscious brain. It's 90% of our brain. We've called it the justice monkey. Okay. Our unconscious works on justice, and it's reflexive. So if somebody hits me, not even being mean, I want to hit them. And we talked about unconscious confrontation because when I do something to somebody else, my unconscious does it to me. So we talked about how to move other people around by unconsciously confronting them. So what's happening again is that unconscious. So the first thing I like to talk about with people is, what is mercy? Mercy is the time between an unjust act and when the justice gets equaled out. Now, I grew up on cartoons, and in cartoons, someone does something wrong and a lightning bolt hits them instantly. That's an example of zero mercy. There was something unjust and instantly it got equaled out. And so one of the things I've noticed is that when people, like, they'll drop a pencil and they'll suddenly go, I know I dropped it. And you look at them like, I didn't say anything. But to them, they feel like you dropped your pencil. Why do they feel that so strongly? The reason they do is their monkey jumped on them as soon as they dropped it. Why? Because they jump on everybody else. So the first thing I've noticed is people who are super critical of others, they are not showing anybody any mercy. So when they do something wrong, their unconscious is super critical of them to the point they think you were being critical, and they'll actually yell at you. So if you see someone doing something wrong and suddenly yell at you, know that those people show other people no mercy.
Oh, I absolutely get that. Now, just when you talk about the cartoons, they got a trigger in me. We're obviously programmed, our minds are like sponges. And once we've spoken about before, or a few times, about from the age of kind of 0 to 7, show me the child, I'll show you the adult. When we're watching these cartoons, we are being programmed. Take Roadrunner and Coyote, for instance. Once something happens to one, it comes and they get the rock landing on their head, and that's like, haha, I've got you back. Now, for us, we don't understand as children the behaviors and the programming that's happening. But what we're getting taught is if someone does something to us, something instantly has got to happen to them. And it's went through generations and generations. So we know that this is the normal way to react. And we say normal because most people do it. It doesn't mean it's the right way to act.
Right. The thing is, now you're taking me way back. So you had Ed Mabry on.
Yes.
Ed talked about the 5 types of stories. And the thing with these 5 stories is, he said they are satisfying to us. There's all sorts of types of stories, but there are only 5 that are satisfying to us. You know, the hero's arc, the tragedy, he did all of them. All 5 of those run on justice. And what you're talking about the cartoons is, well, the reason why those cartoons resonate is their justice. The coyote's trying to do something unjust, and so the justice ends up back on him, and that feels satisfying. So that justice is built into us. So what I ask people is, how would you learn to have your justice monkey give you mercy? So I like to say, how much mercy do you want? When you do something wrong, how long do you want your monkey to wait before it jumps and pounds on you? And usually I do this in the classroom, because when I explain this to the kids, I show them the monkey video and then I explain this, they suddenly realize, oh, wait a minute, I feel that all the time. So I say, how much time do you want? And they'll say, let's say a day. A day before your monkey jumps on you. How would you get your monkey to wait a day? And this is the key. When I look on LinkedIn and Facebook and all these people who are health experts telling you how to fix this overcritical nature you have. telling yourself stop being overcritical or telling yourself to ignore that is going to wreck you.
Yes.
Your justice monkey works reflexively. If you want it to give you a day, you have to give other people a day.
Yes.
So when other people do something wrong, you need to give them time for them to recognize it. If you jump in and jump on them, or you can point it out nicely, then your justice monkey will point it out nicely to you. So the first step is with mercy is if you want more mercy from yourself, you have to show it to others because your justice monkey doesn't listen to you saying show mercy.
Yes. I get that. And again, when we're talking about the reflexes, again, this is us going back to the programming and the habits that we are in. And we need to be consciously and unconsciously and with understanding ourselves as well. And this is where we can start to put things into action. So by understanding our unconscious, so that's that reflexive hitting us and going, I feel this stress hormone, I feel it. Understanding it consciously will then allow you to behave differently to then reprogram your unconscious for it.
Right, and you do that reflexively. So now we can get to forgiveness. So
Yes.
Mental health begins in definitions. You need to have a definition in order to do this. And it's so easy for me to look at a forgiveness post. Since I know the definition of forgiveness, it's so easy for me to ask a question and easily expose someone else doesn't have it. So forgiveness is when you state out loud, because it's to your justice monkey, when you state out loud or write down that you are not going to equal out your justice, even if you had the chance to. Forgiveness is infinite mercy.
Yes.
That's the way to look at forgiveness. It's infinite mercy. As someone's done something wrong, and I am never going to equal it out, even if I had the chance to. That's the definition of forgiveness.
I love that. And again, it's when we can think about it, but until we release it through our voice or onto paper, it's stuck in our conscious brain and it will be thrown back in there if we ignore it because we'll be distracted. So I believe when people, they think, I would love not to do that, but then they'll think about having a cup of coffee for talking sake, and it distracts them from actually releasing that thought, so they're not actually going to go through with it and the trigger will come later on.
Right. So you nailed the most important point, distraction.
Yes.
So ultimately, we're going to be talking about flow. In order to flow, you have to be at one thought. The way people get worn down is to have more than one thought. So the issue with not forgiving is you have two thoughts, at least two thoughts. So if you did something to me, Colin, I have one thought, which is I'm trying to run my life. And my second thought is, when can I get back at Colin?
Yeah.
So me not forgiving you is causing me not to flow. It's keeping me distracted.
Yep.
And it's only hurting me. Now,
Yep.
Here's what's really hurting me. I am constantly looking how to get back at you. My monkey sees that I am trying to get back at you because what you did to me. And so my monkey thinks everybody I did something to is trying to get back at me.
Yep.
Now, here's where this gets really bad. I could be walking through a crowd and I could brush up against a friend of mine unjustly. I hit them unjustly. I am not conscious of it. My unconscious knows I did that. My unconscious thinks that person's going to try to get back at me because that's the example I set. My unconscious now is going to warn me every time I'm near that person because it's trying to warn me they're going to try to get back at you. And now I feel funny around this person. I don't feel comfortable. So then I tell you, Colin, hey, watch out for that person. They give me a strange feeling. And now I'm actually hurting that person. My unconscious is going to come at me more. But here's the issue. Why am I being mean to that person? Because I was unjust to them. And there's where your brain gets turned around. I was unjust to them, and now I have taught my unconscious not to forgive. So now I've done that. Now, I will tell you this. When people keep a list of all the people they're going to get back at, they tend to become paranoid. I have helped 2 people get over paranoia. Both of them had a list. And what they were doing was they were telling their unconscious, I am actively looking to ruin these people. And their unconscious was saying, these people are actively looking to ruin you. And then they were saying, hey, Colin, these people are out to get me. And that feeling was real. When these people learned to forgive, their paranoia went away. When people learn to forgive, the benefit is to them.
Yep.
So that's why it's important to learn the definition of forgive in order to do it intentionally.
Yeah, oh, I love that. Now, you and I have spoken about my kind of tarot cards and stuff that I do kind of in between times. Now, I have a card called Justice, right? Now, Justice, I just designed my own, and what I've got is a pair of shackles being broken. Now, forgiveness is your justice for yourself, and then it's also your freedom, which allows you to feel free within yourself and without yourself. It's like, as you talk about that kind of infinite mercy, and you're not at your own mercy either. And it's when we said right at the very beginning of this video, we said there's not enough people giving each other freedom. And this has gone down back to the programming that they've put into themselves throughout their whole lives. And they all feel that they have to get back, they have to win. They don't realize that the strength and the power is to say, okay, I'll let it go. Thank you for teaching me a lesson, or thank you for you know, and I'm putting this back out to the universe. Their karma belongs to me now, you know, but they don't allow that to happen. What they do is they go, so anytime that they have a thought, their karma is now back on us, which allows us to feel that overwhelmed, over emotional way that you speak of. And this is where people feel completely stuck. And then they try even harder to get back to that other person.
So in the next episode, you know, next week, I want to talk all about that karma. Everything you just said is so real. And this all comes back to whether you're a human or a robot.
Yeah.
If you're a robot, then you equal everything out and you get it all equal now. If you're a human, you'll understand there's a way to get ahead. And I definitely want to talk about that next time, because that opens up a whole humongous topic about how to really change the world. Now, I want to go back to something you said is, when these people let go, they have freedom, but people don't know how to let go. And that's the real value of what we're trying to help people with right now. So if you remember, in the region of your brain, you have this dendrite, you have these connecting facts, you have these emotions. So some people say the way to forgive is to forget.
Yeah.
So what they'll say is you need to not remember this fact, and you need to feel good about the person who is unjust to you. So notice in your brain, there's a branch that has the fact of what they did. There's an emotion attached.
Yeah.
The only way you can forget as a cause and feel good is brain damage. So everybody out there who is telling you to forget as a cause and to feel good about the person as a cause is advocating brain damage.
Yes.
That's why the definition is so important. The definition is to state your will to your unconscious. You're not going to equal it out, even if you had the chance to. That's real important. A lot of people say, well, I won't equal out, I won't get the chance to. And all of a sudden they have the chance to, and then they rush at it. You got to rehearse. I have the chance to get back, and I don't. So when you state that out loud to your unconscious, you teach your monkey that other people can leave you alone, because your monkey doesn't even know that that's an option. So you teach that to your monkey, and then you're going to feel a lot more settled. You're going to feel all the benefits. So one of the things I learned, there's this guy I met a couple months ago. His name was Xavier Delang, and he works with words. And he pointed something out. I've been teaching forgiveness for 20 years. And he pointed something out that blew my mind. So a lot of people think forgiveness is forgetting. Forgive, forget. What's the difference between those two words? They both have for, but one is getting and one is giving. And if you think about it, People who tell you to forget, they're telling you to try to get something. What you're trying to do is get something as a cause. So when you forget, when you listen to them, forget as a cause, they're telling you to get, which is the opposite of where you're going to end up with your reflexive monkey. Forgiving, you're giving. When you give forgiveness, when you let that person go, you're giving to them, and the effect is you get. So the number one thing, if somebody asked me the absolute key to mental health, I would say it's this. Say whatever it is you want, because if you don't say what you want, you're deceiving yourself and other people. Say what you want, and then focus on the cause. What you want is an effect. If you focus on that as a cause, you are going to be depressed and possibly suicidal eventually. Say what you want, recognize it's an effect, and put your brain on the cause that leads to that. So forgetting is an effect of forgiving. If you forgive, what's going to happen is you're going to live your life and go this way, and you're going to forget as an effect. You're going to dissolve the issue. You're not trying to forget. Forget. That's what he tells you to do as a cause. You're not trying to do it. You're forgiving, and the effect is forgetting. And that's why that's mentally healthy. Forgetting as a cause is mentally unhealthy.
Love that. Now, there was a word that you used that I would like to, or two words that you used, I would like to touch on quickly, because the words brain damage to people mean different to what they mean to you and I, okay? If someone talks about brain damage, they talk about a head injury, they talk about a car accident, these type of things, okay? Now, brain damage can be caused from the outside to the physical brain, but also from the inside. And people don't realize that their unhealthy thought process cause them brain damage. You know, they think that they think their mental health, poor mental health is brain damage. That's what it is. And it's down to people not being able to process communication, you know, and definitions. So
okay. Yeah, I'm going to take that another level. This is my final thought actually on this is this. There was a study done back in the United States, back when Bush was running against Kerry. So this is like, I think it's 2004. And they had a sentence from Bush, two sentences, and they seemed to contradict each other. And they had two sentences from Kerry. They seemed to contradict each other. They had 24 Bush supporters and 24 Kerry supporters watch all four sentences. When the Bush supporters saw the Kerry contradiction and the Kerry supporters saw the Bush contradiction, a portion of their brain, the anterior cingulate, went off, which is where you detect a contradiction. And they said, that guy contradicted himself. Their brain worked fine. When the Bush people saw their candidate contradict and the Kerry people saw their candidate contradict, that portion of the brain wasn't even active. They were under MRI. They didn't even go through that part of the brain. So they didn't check for a contradiction. And the part of the brain that rewards them for having checked for a contradiction went off. Okay. That is brain damage. These people are brain damaged. These people feel convinced they checked for a contradiction in their candidate, and they feel and are convinced there was no contradiction because they rewarded themselves for having checked. And you, just what you said, Colin, you can damage your own brain. We're going to cover about how to fix that in the future, you know, hopefully ahead of the elections. But the thing is that is what I'm talking about. Your way of running your brain is causing your monkey to change it for your benefit because it's just following you, and it will damage your brain based on what you want. And you won't have the brain capacity to even know that you have brain damage.
Yes, absolutely. And just to kind of tie up, when we ask people the definition of mental health, it's not I have never been told it's my thought process. I have always been told it's the behavior of others. It's the loss of a job. It's the loss of a family member, a friend, a relationship breakdown. I have never been told, when I ask them, what is your definition of mental health? I have never been or spoken to like it is my own thought process that needs to be fixed. And again, going forward, once we're able to touch on that, people will find it very interesting. So no, thank you again for today. Today's been great. I'm sure there's going to be people out there wanting to go and start forgiving for free now, and start to kind of free themselves from whatever situations they feel attached to. So it'll be good. So yes, next time we have got Compassion How, which is going to be absolutely awesome, because I'm a Compassion Y, and I would love to compare myself to my why to somebody else's house, so I'm able to discuss it further. So again, thank you so much, and I look forward to speaking to you next time. Take care, John.
Bye.
Thank you.